Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, for today's video, I would like to talk about tones. Very repetitive, I know, but I'm still getting a lot of messages about this issue here. So, I want to talk about the tones, talk about my background, what I've done to overcome these tones, and what you can do. So, let's get right to it. So, as you guys know, when you're dealing with a language like Vietnamese, Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Thai, any of those tonal languages, it is very difficult to overcome tones when you're in your own country. Okay, let's say you're in the U.S., alright, and you're learning Thai. It's very difficult to grasp the tones because you have to work harder. You're not surrounded by the language. It only makes sense. Whereas if you're in Thailand, you hear the language 24/7. Okay, you hear your neighbors arguing. You hear a lot of stuff. Okay, TV, just on the streets. In my experience, when I was in Taiwan, that's how it was for me. I heard it. It was this Mandarin just everywhere, Taiwanese everywhere. Okay, when you're in that type of situation, it's easy to mimic certain sounds, try to mimic the way someone speaks. It's very easy to do that because you have that easy access to that, to that language. So when you're in your own country, what you have to do is create an environment. You have to do this, and you have to stay dedicated to this. So before I get into what I've done for, let's say, language like Cantonese, let me tell you a little bit about Mandarin and my issue with tones. So as you guys know, I've been I got about 10 years under my belt for Mandarin, and despite all those years I have for that language, I still have some problems with tones and an accent. Okay, now I know I said in the past that accent, it doesn't matter if you have an accent or whatever, as long as you're understood. That's true. Because at the end of the day, it's all about communication. People will be able to understand you. If you can understand me, I understand you, then we're good. There aren't any problems with our communication. But as time goes by, it's going to start to hunt you. Like for me, my wife, she still she criticizes me from time to time about my tones when I speak, and she corrects me, and it's quite annoying. And you don't want to have to go through that in the future. So you want to take care of this at an early stage, and what you need to do is get a course. Okay, like for me, I'm going to use Cantonese for example because this is the first tonal language I've actually started really having good tones in. So I would get a course like Teach Yourself, or if Teach Yourself isn't available, you can get pretty much any course, provided that the course has audio and adequate dialogues. Okay, not very well. If the dialogues are very long, you can cut them up in Audacity, but just make sure that course has dialogues and audio. And what you need to do with those dialogues in the audio is listen to the dialogues over and over again. When I say over and over again, I'm talking about between 500 and 1,000 times, because once you listen to something for at least 500 to 1,000 times, you start to pick up a rhythm. You start to there's a certain rhythm. It starts to sound like music. To me, at least, it does. And then once you read it, you kind of remember everything, the sounds, the tones, and everything. So you want to do that. Read out loud. I will spend a couple days doing this, and once you feel confident, you feel that you're like, wow, okay, I can basically just recite this dialogue. Then you can go on to the next one, do the same thing. Add your audio to your iPhone or whatever you have, and just play the audio. All day, every day. You're not all day, but at least an hour. Do that like every day, and then you should start to feel this rhythm from the dialogue. So that's what I did with Cantonese. I went through this whole book doing that. The whole book. This has 26 chapters. The whole book I went through, and I will have to say that. Give me a second. I will have to say that my tones got good. Yeah, I was struggling. I was struggling at the beginning. Even I put myself out there on YouTube. I made videos where I was reading Cantonese. when I was going back and forth reading those videos, and I made some spoken videos where I was still struggling with the tones. I mean, some people even told me, they said, yeah, you know, I have to pay attention to what you're saying, you know, it's, you know, because you're messing up on tones, and that was fine with me. I know it was the process, it's a struggle, you know, but I knew eventually that I'm going to overcome those tones as long as I stay consistent, persistent, you know, with the training that I've been going through. So I would say, like, after a year, I started really getting used to the tones. Even when I speak Cantonese, I don't even have problems with the tones. I don't find them difficult because of all the listening, all the exposure I put myself through. Listening to dialogues, listening to podcasts, listening to, I mean, anything. Like, let me show you. Anything I can get my hands on that has all Cantonese audio, I like to listen to. Podcast. See? I like to listen to that, and I, of course, have my dialogue I listen to. It's music. It's all it is to me. It's music. So this dialogue wasn't from Teach Yourself, it's from a different course, but that's not the point. The point is you need to listen to the audio as much as you can and then try to produce the sounds. You have to hear yourself produce them. It's going to sound, yeah, it's going to sound weird at first, but you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to talk to yourself. Okay, and then go out and talk with people. When you go talk with people, when you go level up, and you know you test it on them, say, okay, yeah, I want to see if they understand what I'm saying. And if they, you know, they're surprised, oh, you speak, you know, then you know you making some progress. But if they're having a hard time trying to understand what you're saying, then you know you need more training. So that's what you need to do for tone. So those of you who are working on languages like Mandarin, Cantonese, Vietnamese, or Thai, there really aren't any shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Okay. You have to just get a course and put the time in. I would say 3 to 6 months. If you do this consistently every day, you will start to develop a good pronunciation, a good accent, and you will start to become used to the tones. It's just inevitable. Okay, you just have to put that time in. So that's all I can really tell you. People have been asking me if I know of any videos where they go through. They're more of a linguistic approach. Like they move their jaws and show you how to enunciate certain words, tones in Chinese. I'm not really that big into linguistics. I'm not saying linguistics is bad. It's actually something I want to get into in the future. But when it comes to learning a language, like I don't really take a linguistic approach like that. I just do what makes sense. It's basically common sense. You listen to the audio, you read. Eventually, you're going to be able to produce those sounds through time. It's just inevitable. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what you need to do. You have to have patience, of course, because that's another thing that you can fall victim to if you don't have patience. So be patient, keep a positive attitude, and and just keep moving. So that is it. If any of you have any more questions concerning tones, let me know. I'm always here. I'll produce a video. Otherwise, thanks for viewing, and talk to you guys here shortly. Yes.